Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Chloé Malaisé. I am here live at the 5th annual Yucca Valley Film Festival. We're in the Yucca Valley Community Center, and it has been an action-packed weekend. And now we are nearing the end. We're getting close to the final award ceremony, which is going to be kicked off at 7 a.m. with a special performance by Arami. I do want to give a big shout out to Marianne Fenley at State Farm Yucca Valley for sponsoring this podcast and all of the sponsors of the festival that have helped make this possible. So during the course between now and the final ceremony, I do have a couple more interviews with some filmmakers that are in the festival, and I'm super excited. So I'm going to jump right in. We have our first interview of the evening with Jessica Rookeward. Hello, Jessica. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm so excited to have you because I got to see your film yesterday. So Savage Dawn, tell us a little bit about what it's about for all the folks out there that haven't had the pleasure to see it.
Yeah, well, since we've already shown here, I feel good about saying what it's about. So Savage Dawn is a Western thriller set during the California Gold Rush about the unknown, undocumented female serial killers of the Wild West.
So I love that I didn't know what it was about.
I tried to keep it quiet because it's hard to talk about what it's about without giving it away.
100%. Yeah, like how do you? I don't know how you would describe it without because that is part of the experience of you watching, and you're like, and then the moment you're like, oh my god, it's her. It's like this plot twist. Like it was so good. Now, what I found so inspiring as an actor is I saw this role that you star in, and I was like, wow, what a cool role. Wow, what a fun role. Amazing. And then I saw the credits come up and I saw, your name, the lead actor, and then written and produced by Jay. And I was like, oh my God, she wrote, and produced. Oh, she wrote her own. I was so inspired. And I'm it makes me want to go home and write a badass role for myself too.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so how it came about was I was training in horse stunts and horsebow archery.
And that's so cool.
Thank you. At the D6 Ranch in Apple Valley, and they're incredible. That's the horse we used as well. They're from the ranch, and we've been doing that for over a year and a half at that point. We were like, we have these amazing horses. We should do something. And so, of course, naturally, a Western came about. And I started doing all this research about women of the time because I didn't really want to do another Western. Nothing wrong with them, but another Western about the damsel in distress being saved by the cowboy.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a strong female character that was strong from the start, and I did a lot of research on women of the time and started to realize that there's not a lot documented, which is crazy. There's amazing women like Annie Oakley and things, but a lot of the serial killers were either on the East Coast or European, which is, amazing. But you cannot tell me that in a span of about 100 years that they didn't exist.
Right.
So, the more I did research, the more I delved into it. I was like, these people are missing from history. I'm going to write a little love letter to them.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so then I started writing the script and I was like, okay, what are my strengths? And that was at the time horse riding, and I was training in also stunt work on foot at JAM, Joining All Movement in LA. And this was the second film I've made since I moved to LA. Which was really cool. So yeah, I was trying to play to my strengths and what I knew I could do. And accents is definitely something that is a strong suit of mine. And with her, it was so much fun to find the accent because we started writing. So this is a concept for a TV series. So we started fleshing out her character a lot and finding out why her accent isn't perfect and finding out why it's a bit bastardized in a way from the influences from her life. So that was fun to play around with a Southern accent that wasn't meant to be from one distinct region.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's why her accent is a little different to the lead guy's accent.
And which the lead guy is played by your husband, which I love.
So naturally you make a film and he's like, can I be in it? Yeah, you can be in it.
All right, fine.
Okay.
Wash the dishes, make dinner, I'll put you in my car. Well, Well, that was something that I loved when, in this film she has, as she mentioned, a southern accent, and we do a Q&As after all the films, so they're on stage and then they pass her the mic and she's like, hello, my name is I was like, oh my god, she doesn't have a western accent. So did you already had you already worked on accents? You said it was your strong, so you had already kind of played with accents
so
before.
I'm mainly a voiceover actor, and
Okay.
I only work in American accent, but I have an incredible dialect coach. Her name is Jennifer White. She's in Australia.
Is that where you're from?
Yeah, I'm from Sydney, Australia.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been working with her since I was 15 on my American accent, and so anything I get like that's big like this, I get her. So we had a session with her together to like really flesh it out and like make sure it was as good as possible.
Do you guys work all online? Like, is she based in Australia?
Yes, we did it over Zoom.
Wow,
Yeah.
amazing. So you also produced this film. Did you have like a team to help you coordinate all of like the logistical parts of your film? Like, how was that experience? Like, one thing is the creative side, the other thing is like the nitty gritty part. How was that?
It was good. I brought on this incredible guy. His name is Travis Leland. He was my co-producer. It was just us two, and yeah, we made it happen. This was the biggest team we've worked with. It was about 10 people, female led behind the camera, which was amazing. Our director, Tamaya Bantam, she's my ride or die with filmmaking. I owe everything to her. She was also edited our film. And then Ingrid Sanchez, who was our DP, she was unbelievable. I mean, those shots were like,
they're amazing. The cinematography in your film is incredible.
Everyone needs to hire this woman. She's like unbelievably good.
It's so good. So did you guys have like, because I remember in the Q&A, I mean, you mentioned you guys raised, I think it was like $3,000, but then you worked like 152 jobs to raise like to save another $10,000. So did you already know, did you have like a budget beforehand that you were like, okay, like this is gonna cost this much? You were mentioning the insurance for the horse was like,
yes, thankfully we got the horses for free, which is amazing.
But then you gotta pay.
But then you have to pay insurance, and it's it's
did you know
cheap.
that going into it, like when you were writing the film, you already knew like,
that would be one of the expenses. The other one was the locations were the most expensive as well.
So let's talk about locations, because you mentioned, which if you hadn't mentioned it, I would have had no idea. When I was like, where did you guys shoot? It's like, well, the inside was.
Yeah, so the interior was shot at a place in Pear Blossom. Yeah, and then the exterior was shot in Agua Dulce.
So how many shoot days did you guys have in
two? One for the exterior and one for the interior, because the budget we originally had, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and get 15,000, and we pushed to 20 because you have to.
Hashtag filmmaking.
You have to. So yeah, me and my partner Lee, who also played the lead, we were the only ones who weren't paid for the thing.
Okay.
For the film.
So were you in locations? Were you looking ideally for like one place to shoot everything?
Yeah.
You were like...
Well, that was the hardest thing. It's just like, it was so hard to find an interior and exterior that was the exact same, because usually for Westerns, what I found from my research was that those were already, the best looking ones were already on movie lots, and I couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
There's so many other logistics that came along with renting out a lot that we just couldn't do. So we went through Airbnb, we went through Peerspace. Yeah, so that was really cool and like awesome to do it that way, because you've got to find the perfect fit. But the interior, actually, the place is called Chenando Hills, and we gutted it out. So we were there at 5 a.m. gutting it out, ripping up the floorboards to put in floorboards, because it was like a 70s style retro cabin, and I feel like we could have found a better place, but this was what we found. And so everything in there that you saw was our amazing set designer. His name is Filippelli, and he did all of that, and it just looked incredible. So then at the end of the day, the entire crew just was like taking everything out, pulling up the floorboards to make it look the same again.
Oh my god.
Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
No, especially when you're saying like you only had like a group of 10, and you're like, we started ripping the floor. I was like, you did this in like one shoot day there, and like that's your journey has been amazing. What would you say is something that you learned from this one? Because I feel like that has been like a reoccurring theme where everybody's like learn something from every film that they make, what would you say is like something you learned from this one that you would take on to the next project?
Yes, it's actually I just filmed my third short film. In
Wow.
September, so we're currently in the post.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You're just doing it. Just doing the damn thing.
I caught the bug. I caught the bug for sure.
Yeah.
But one thing I learned that I took into this filming was having the breath and the time is worth all the money. Like not rushing everybody, like giving everybody the time and space to feel like they're not rushed is
Yeah.
worth the money. It's worth it.
Did you direct this one, or did you have a director?
The new one?
The Savage Dawn.
Savage Dawn, I didn't direct. I handed that off to Maya Bantam.
How do you
Who's one of my closest
find?
friends.
Okay, like
Yeah.
you knew her, you knew her
Yeah,
work.
so we did the first. She DP'd my first film.
Okay.
And that's how we met. And yeah, I found the perfect partner basically. Like we're in sync with everything. All of our opinions are the same. So it's been like the best partnership I could have possibly asked for.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I really hope you're hoping to make this into a TV series, you said.
Yeah,
I
that's
really
the goal.
the story is amazing. I hope you stay in that role because it is bad.
I hope
so. So well, you know, in Hollywood a lot of times it's like, yeah, we'll buy it, but let's put this super famous
if it goes to
actress
someone
in
like
it.
Florence Pugh, I'm not mad.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. You're like, I'll take it.
I'm like,
That's very true. No, but Jessica, it's been such a pleasure. Just know you're like an inspiration. Do you feel, my last question, do you feel that after your first one, you said you caught the bug? So is it like you kind of just had to do the first one to realize I can do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
to realize you can do it and go, oh, hang on a second, I am capable of doing this. My creative opinion is worthy of being told and worthy of being like actually like put into something.
Yeah, and you know you have the people to be able to like.
Yeah, I think that was the hardest thing is like finding the community and finding the right people to collaborate. Yeah, because obviously like they come on board, they might want to take a few things and have their input and such. So then also within that, finding your own leadership has been like very like eye-opening, which has been great. It's been a massive, amazing learning experience. So.
Oh my god, I'm so inspired, Jessica. I hope I'm sure you've inspired a lot of people, but you can leave this festival knowing that you've inspired me, and hopefully this time next year I made a movie. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Jessica. Really, congratulations, because you have made an incredible project.
Thank you so much.
Salute you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. It's a pleasure.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, guys, that was Jessica Rookeward. We were talking about her short film Savage Dawn, which hopefully soon will turn into a TV series. So I have a couple more filmmakers lined up, and I see my next prey right in the back. So don't go anywhere, and I'm gonna bring them right up. And we're back. We're gonna go right into the next interview. I have with me Mr. Steven Morana. Is it?
Yes, you said it
Welcome.
perfectly.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's been a lovely weekend.
Yeah, and you got to do some sightseeing today.
Yes, I did, because the last time I was here was all just filming, because we shot most of this film we're talking about in Joshua Tree,
Oh,
and so it was just like back-to-back schedules of just filming day and night, and I didn't really get time to just take in all the sites. So I've been doing some of that. We saw the transmission sculpture today with a few friends, and I highly recommend it. We were talking about
yeah,
before
yeah. I'm like
we're screening here.
taking notes
Yeah.
here. So, Steven, you are the lead actor in X-A-12, which is a short film.
Yes, it's a short film, and it's all to do. It's like a dream within a dream sequence, ambiguous, open to interpretation, about a complex relationship between father and son.
Actually, I was really curious how you would
How I describe
describe
because
it.
there's a lot of takes on it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that's the way I took it.
Yeah, well, it's cool because one of the first interviews I did in the whole weekend was with Tyrell.
Yeah. Terrell, yeah.
Terrell. Is it Terrell? Because I thought I called him Terrell and he said Tyrell.
Terrell.
Terrell.
I think it's tomato, but yeah,
Yes,
our producer.
Terrell. And I hadn't seen the film, so he explained it to me.
Oh,
and
what
one
was
thing,
his description? I'm curious.
I think it was a bit more about the car, I think.
Oh, all right.
No. About the son.
Yes.
It was about the son and the car and like after, and then I don't know if because I hadn't seen it yet, I hadn't made the connection between the relationship between the son and the father. So it's interesting after having seen it.
Yeah, what was your take? I know because you heard before and then after. What's your response now? What's your feeling on it?
Yeah, I love the concept of it because it leaves one to think like, wow, yeah, how does somebody like the son of the richest man in the world with a name like X-A-12 grow up to be? So it's kind of like, it was interesting to see somebody's like, this is my idea of like when I think of, because we know the son now as like, he's a baby. So it's like when it hit me that it's like, oh, this isn't now. He's a fully grown man in the future, and the idea of like what happened to Elon, where is he now? It's like I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not gonna say where he is.
And so I think on the surface level, you can definitely take it just as something like that, just like a fantasy or projection of what could be, like how could it turn out? But then at the same time, like I said, it's just at the end of the day, it's a complicated relationship between father and son. That's a universal story.
Yeah.
And about the idea of moving on with your life, or having an ambivalence where there's mixed messages in your head of like good times, but also maybe tougher times in the relationship. So, I mean, from an actress perspective, that's what I wanted to bring.
Yeah.
It's just like make it relatable and kind of resonate with whoever is watching it from their perspective of anyone, a father, parental figure, mentor, what have you.
Well, I also saw like some notes of like attachment and detachment in the film. Like for me, that was like a big like foundation of the film. And like, so as much as it was about like father and so, like the relationship between the father and the son, I felt like so much we a lot of times I feel like kids, we want to say so much of who we are, has to do with like our parents or upbringing, but we get to a certain point in our life, at least in that age, for example, that you're presenting, where it's really about you at that point, the choices that you're making, like what do you choose to hang on to, what are you choosing to attach to? I mean, Elon, in that respect, your father is gone, so it's like at that point it's not so much about your relationship, it's what you are making of the relationship. So I thought you had this like really fascinating like kind of roller coaster of emotions in the film.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was a great piece to kind of play with that spectrum of emotions. And then of course there's the father son relationship, but then his girlfriend.
That's right. There's another
and moving on, or it actually kind of is seemingly becomes even more serious, like where they get engaged or celebrate some a consummation of their relationship. And so yeah, no, it was interesting, like letting go of the past and moving forward.
Yeah.
And what's in front of you, the relationship in front of you. So, yeah, a lot about. I like how you say attachment and detachment.
Yeah, and you had a lot of different, like you had the relationship with the car, the relationship with yourself, the relationship
Mhm.
with the father, and I forgot you had your relationship, with your fiance. So
Yeah.
it's like, how do all of these kind of like
Yeah,
lead your character to make the choices that
yeah, and the car was like a symbol of his father because it was like passed on to him, and it was his
Right.
last. It was like his memento of his father,
Yeah.
and kind of making him hold on. So it was like more than just a car to him. It was like what he had left, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's like this homage to cars as well. There's definitely, it's beautifully shot. I was so lucky to have such great cinematography and great direction on and great locations. We shot a lot of it here in around like Joshua Tree area,
Yeah.
and then Malibu and downtown LA. So
And then do I remember correctly that Tyrell mentioned that first Chris he just had all this footage of the car, and then you guys shot, or was everything shot like at the same time?
well, when I came on the project, yeah, no, they would they shot most of it just different sequences, just all between certain consecutive days, and then we had breaks or we had to shoot additional photography, and then we finished the film early this year in January. But yeah, there was like a few blocks of filming that we had to do where we had to do some more establishing drone shots
Gotcha.
or different locations or what have you.
Interesting. Yeah. So it's not like a lot of times people are like, okay, we're gonna go shoot 2 days. We got the thing. No, for you
No.
guys, it's like we shot, and it's like you start editing or seeing what you
Yeah,
have, and it's like,
yeah.
hey, let's go and shoot this now to fill this in.
Yeah, so it wasn't all in sequence.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Interesting. How did you come aboard on the project?
I auditioned. I submitted my demo reel and my profile and so on, and they chose me. They said it was like 500 applicants or something. I felt very, very fortunate. It was very blessed.
Did you have to do an audition, or you just sent a demo?
I sent a demo reel, and then they did do one Zoom audition with me.
Okay, very cool. What were some of the challenges you faced in playing X Ash 8-12? Or we'll call him X.
Yeah, X. That's what I'm called in the film, anyways. That's what he goes by, X. I know. Say that 5 times.
Yeah, like you chose that. Like that's his nickname.
The challenges, I think, just trying to. Well, I found it like it was a fun challenge for me. Like I wanted to just dig into it, just finding the different beats and levels of his father's relationship, the relationship he had with his girlfriend, relationship, to or just his existential, questioning that he was having in struggling with where he was going in life. So I don't know, it was just picking apart the script and making sure I was getting those beats, getting that arc down to kind of showcase the highlights, because it's kind of, again, it's not always in sequence. So
Yeah.
sometimes I was like, okay, this is going to be the part where I'm like mourning my dad or like going to my dad, or this is the part where I'm having a very intimate moment with my girlfriend or what have you. So it was just becoming center in that moment and really trying to bring it justice. So I guess the main thing was challenge for me is just trying to like block out everything else and just really deliver and be present.
And is that something that you worked hand in hand with Chris? Like, were you like, hey, Chris being the director, this is how I'm kind of envisioning it, and he's like, I'm kind of thinking more like this, or was he kind of like, hey, go like have fun, let me see what you come up with?
Actually, yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. I think he wanted to see a lot of times just what I was gonna come up with, and sometimes I'd say, I'm gonna try it this way or whatever, and then he might come with notes and be like, yeah, no, I really like that, or do one like this, and then I might have a suggestion as it kind of evolved into whatever it was going to evolve to. And then as an actor, I just kind of let it go. Like I kind of just do my takes. I suggest maybe something, but again, I don't know what's going to make it or not make it. I just give them an option, and then I let it be. I have to let it go too, because it's not my film in that regard. But no, it was a nice working relationship where he did let me do a lot of improv and just kind of riff a little bit. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. When you have that trust from a director to kind of play, but then also have like that direction, especially with something so complex as it is on your role. So generally speaking, if how long ago did you know since you were a kid that you wanted to be an actor? Or
Yeah, like since I can recall 7 years old,
Wow.
and just doing. I got my first lead in a school play. It was
Yeah.
a Christmas Carol. Actually, it was a Christmas assembly concert.
Yeah.
And I have to thank my teacher at the time. I think her name was Mrs. Heather, who chose me to take on that role of Scrooge.
Oh, fun.
And then ever since then, I was just always wanted to be in the play. I think it just gave me that validation and
Yeah.
that confidence to continue going. And I had other teachers through the years that really helped me along the way, and some that I actually am still in touch with. I'm still in touch with my grade 4 teacher, Miss
Wow.
Diacu, that really just let me perform and encouraged me, and she was always supportive. And she actually came to a premiere a few years ago that I did in Canada. I'm originally from Canada.
Okay.
For another film I did, Beast Within. And yeah, she was in the audience, and we had lunch together. And I just thanked her for just giving me that go ahead, that encouragement. Because really, that's really the difference, And we're so lucky we get that encouragement at a young age, because we get molded into a certain type of thinking, and off we go.
That was the same thing. Mine was, I think, third grade, Alice in Wonderland, and I was mad that I didn't get Alice. I was a flower, and I was so like,
wow.
I wanted Alice, and I still remember the girl that got Alice, and I was just like, and then from there, I just same.
Star was born. It's like I'm gonna work through it. I'm gonna push through.
One day, if I ever get the role of Alice, I'm gonna be like, full circle. I finally got Alice. So yeah, I think I'm so grateful that we're in schools that promote that. I think it's so important, especially I know there are some schools that or districts that want to cut funding, and they want to cut the arts.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, that's literally the reason that I am an actor today. It was because elementary school, middle school, high school, it was the art programs that
just in the community, that's where you get built up. And so yeah, you look back now as an adult and be like, we were so fortunate, because I know so many kids that were forced to only do one type of profession or type of schooling, and weren't able to do the arts at all. So
or the schools didn't have funding,
or the school didn't, or they didn't have the opportunity, wherever they're coming
Yeah.
from. So for whatever reason, my parents are also very supportive. So I just had a lot of mentors at a young, tender age of 7 and onwards to just express myself. So I never looked back since, and I'm still a kid.
Amazing.
All these years later, I suppose you kind of have to keep that child spirit in your heart always.
Well, I was talking to the animator that he did the puppeteer presentation. He does stop motion, and I had told him, I was like, oh my god, this. He always knew, and I was like, yeah, I feel like that's not something you get in career day, where somebody come in. He was like, yeah, actually, we created a program, because for me, it was in 7th grade when I saw my first musical on Broadway that it hit me. I was like, oh wait, people are getting paid to do this. This is like a job. And I think people have that realize. I think that's why career days are so like, wow, that could be a profession. That could be a profession. So I think in addition to having these art programs, realizing, hey, if you really like it, it's not just for fun. Like, you really could make a career out of that. And having like support from your parents, which my parents are also very supportive. I feel like that's invaluable. Like the friends, all of that. So I think it's a blessing, that you've had that, because it's taken you, to where you are today, which is amazing. So
yes,
Stephen, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, and congratulations on X.
We'll just keep it to that.
Amazing. So I look forward to your next project, and hopefully
yours too.
Yours
too.
Who knows, next year I might. Jessica, you guys all inspired me. I was like, man, we just
it's all about that community. Keep that
exactly.
community going, and we have to support one another.
Amazing. Stephen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna see you in the rest of the evening. We have a fun closing ceremony ahead.
All right, cheers.
Thanks to Stephen. Amazing, y'all. That was Stephen Morana. He was the lead actor in X-A-12. It was a really fantastic short film that was screened yesterday. I got a couple more interviews lined up, so don't go anywhere, and I'll be right back. And I'm back. We're gonna jump right in, and we have Rommel Rojas. Hello, Rommel. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. How's your weekend been at Yucca Valley
This
Film
is
Festival?
really fun. I mean, like, it's my first time to be in a film festival for script writing.
Okay.
So it's
Because
exciting.
I heard you're an actor first.
I'm an actor first, and then initially said like I'm a writer wannabe, but now I'm in this festival. It's
Now
legit.
you're a
I'm
writer.
scriptwriter.
One of the other scriptwriters that he was also in your panel said when I was having the interview, he's like, "Well, I'm not. I'm not gonna say I'm a scriptwriter." I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"You finished a script in a feature. I mean, it was incredible." So you wrote Naughty Maids.
Naughty Maids.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So Naughty Maids is about Ramon. He inherited a failing sexy maid service from his
Okay.
late mom, and they only have one client left. But he has to work with his estranged best friend Calixto, who suspects their only client of murder while they were cleaning the house. So
Okay.
that's where the drama starts.
And where did this idea come from?
My friend, because I did a short film in 2019 with my friend, and
Acting or writing?
acting friend, actor, he's an actor.
But you acted or?
I acted in it, and he acted in it. We co-wrote it, we produced it.
Okay.
And then it got successful in some film festivals. So I told him like last year, like, hey, I have this. Do you want to do another project again? He said, yeah. I said, like, oh, what specific character do you want? He said, like, oh, I want someone timid and shy and awkward. I said, like, okay. And then like I'm gonna put in my character in the quirky one. That's my brand and a quirky, frantic one. And then I said, like, yeah, let's do it. And I just have to find a space of like where can those emotions come up?
Okay.
It has to be high stakes. It has to be fun. So I said, like, what other workplace can we go? Because we have like The Office, which is in the paper. We have a lot of sitcoms like Silicon Valley and the tech. And then I said, like, what about a cleaning service? You know, it has not been explored, and I think there's always fun in going to people's different houses and you see personalities the way they leave stuff like as a like if you go to a hotel you leave your key in this area. When you go to your house you leave your key in this area, so there's like a pattern. So that's where you see the pattern, that's where you understand people.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
is this written as a short, a feature, a TV?
It's a short, it's a proof of concept. Right now it's 15 pages, but it's a proof of concept for a TV series.
Okay.
So we will shoot it in March or probably April, and if it does well with film festivals and all that, we'll shop it around and see where that will lead us.
How did you know from the beginning that it was like with this idea that it would be a TV series, or were you kind of like, should it be a feature? Should it
Actually,
be a TV series?
it's just a short film. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna make it fun, and then like so we can show our acting reels and stuff like that.
Right.
And then as I was showing it to my teacher, my writing teacher, and some people who are writers, they said like there's potential here for a series.
Oh, you didn't write it as a proof of concept. You just
No, it was
wrote
just-
it, and you
yeah.
were like, this could be more.
Right. And then they were very supportive, like, yeah, explore further, create an arc and all that. And I said, like, okay, let's dive into it. And then as I go along, I see like, okay, yeah, I can see where it can go, like probably 2 or 3 seasons in, so like, yeah, so let's just jump in.
Wow. I always wonder like how writers can think so far when you're saying like, oh, I could see where this would go in 2 seasons. I was like, 2 seasons. Wow, that's like, because especially, I mean, do you envision this being like a 30-minute kind of thing or like an hour?
It's a 30-minute for premium cable.
Okay.
And then because the way I always write is like I always think of the characters and where do I want them to end, and then from there I backtrack.
Oh, interesting.
Because I mean, like I don't want to be thinking like how do I want to end it. Like you always like leave it open, but if you know where you're gonna end, you can always fill in the blanks and like
Yeah.
yeah.
And as an actor, did you write this with the idea that this is something for you to act in?
It always is. The last one I did 2019 was the intention of like I will act in it because like roles are hard and like
Yes.
booking a job is hard.
Yes.
And right, and
Yeah.
then I feel the frustration. I know exactly how you feel. Exactly how you feel. And people are just saying create your content.
Yeah.
Some people create their content as an influencer
Yeah.
on TikTok, but I want my creation of a story on TV specifically. So yeah, I'm just doing it. This is for me and for my collection as well.
Amazing. Did you take like script writing classes?
I did with what's his name, Ben Axelrod. So
Okay.
he gave like more of the structure.
Okay.
And then I'm reading right now Save the Cat because
Save the Cat.
yeah, so it's about like inciting incidents, like the main conflict, characters, relationship.
Okay.
Because for me, I love structure. That gives me an idea of like where to go,
Taking notes.
and then like so you don't often wander off with your story. So I have an
Okay.
idea. It's easy to handle it one by one rather than it's like an open world.
Interesting. Do you use Final Draft?
I use Final Draft.
Okay.
And it's very easy to use. I didn't have to do tutorials. I just like, jump right in and like, oh, this works. Oh, this is how it works. Okay, and then suddenly you're done. So I love Final Draft. If you know, yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. I'm like taking notes from everybody, like from Jessica that made same actress produce her own thing. So,
Right,
just-
right.
so now you have the short script. Are you looking to produce it and like put it on screen, or like would that be then the proof of concept as well visually
Right,
for
right.
the TV series?
So right now we're doing fundraising. So we're gonna shoot the actual script March and April.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
it's 15 minutes.
Okay.
So as we do that, I'm gonna write the pilot probably next year. And so with the pilot, it's likely almost very similar with the, of course, the proof of concept, but as you expand it to a 30-minute series and like a 10 episode series, then the pilot has to be slightly more than the proof of concept. But
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. What were some of the challenges you faced writing? Were you co-writing this one or as well?
I'm the only writer. I'm the lead writer
So this is the first one that you're writing by
by
yourself.
myself.
Is it easier than the co-writing? or-
I would say it's easier, but selfish in a sense. Because like when you work with someone, gives you an idea, but you have to compromise. It cannot be always your own.
Yeah.
But you always have to work with someone to meet halfway. But if you write your own and then you consult with someone, they can give you like tidbits here and there, direction of where to go, and then you can fix it on your own the way you want it.
Mm.
So it's harder in a sense, but easier because it's like you don't have to compromise with someone.
Yeah. Interesting. What has been your favorite part of
I
writing?
think just exploring the evidences in the house. Like I want to create,
Oh,
like
yeah.
as they were cleaning, what would they find,
Okay.
and like how would that relate to the actual story, you know? And then like because Calixto was the one who's actually into it. Oh, there's like so many stuff in Ramon being my character. It's like no, well, there's nothing going on here. We can't lose the business, you know. So that kind of argument, and then the relationship, of course, at the end of like what's within the two of them. I
Yeah.
like the exploration of the character, the exploration of the stuff. That's
Yeah. Amazing. Rommel was so exciting, super inspiring from one actor to the other. Really, I'm just like, I want to run home and start like download Final Draft, Save the
Yes,
Cat,
do
like
it.
just do all of that because it's really exciting what you guys are doing. Because like you're saying, I mean, how many times have we heard? Just make your own content. Just make your own content.
But it's never easy.
Yeah, it's like
never
intimidating. It's like,
It can.
especially I've never written, so I'm like as an actor, same. Maybe it's a bit of that like imposter syndrome, and I'm like, but I'm not a writer.
Right.
But I'm not a writer.
I
But
had
I'm not a
I had
writer.
that idea, and just to like learn the structure. I would say that's how I learned. That's how I got into it. Learn the structure, and it gives me like a crutch to slowly do it.
Okay.
So you can do it.
Thanks, Rommel.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Yes.
that. Amazing. Well, thank you also for just coming out
Yes,
to
thank
Yucca
you.
Valley, for sharing your art and like your tidbits of knowledge. I feel like this is how we all grow
Yes,
the
definitely.
community, and it's something that we definitely saw at the scriptwriters
Mhm.
roundtable. It's just there wasn't one single way. Everybody
It's
had
always
like
different.
their own way. So it's just like at the end,
Figure out
just
what's
do it.
best for you.
Yeah, just do it. So thank you so much.
I'll wait for your
Rommel.
writing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'll
thank
wait
you.
for your March
Or April.
March or April.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for that.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you
Take
so
care.
much, Rommel.
Yes,
It's
thank
such a
you.
pleasure. All right, y'all. That was Rommel Rojas. We were talking about his script, which is in competition, called Naughty Maids. I am just so inspired by all of these filmmakers. So let's move right along. I have a couple more to get to before we start the evening portion. We have the red carpet, which is starting soon. And then we have a 7 o'clock harp performance by renowned harpist Arami that's going to kick kick off the final award ceremony. I've got my popcorn ready, so don't go anywhere. I'm going to bring up my next filmmaker. I'll be right back. Hi guys, I'm back. My name is Chloé Malaisé, and we are here at the 5th annual Yucca Valley Film Festival. The closing ceremony is getting close. It kicks off at 7 o'clock with a performance by renowned harpist Aramin. The red carpet is starting to get ready. They're going to start that at 6 o'clock. So I'm going to jump right into our next guest, who is Ethan Ocampo. Hello, Ethan. How are you?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
I'm doing good. Now, you've been here all weekend. So how's been your experience? Because you had like a Q&A the very beginning of the festival. So I saw you from Friday onward. How's been your experience over the weekend?
So my experience here for my first time here in the Yucca Valley Film Festival, I find it just absolutely fantastic.
Oh,
I
love it.
just love how these 3 days have been, how I've come to experience that there's so many different type of events
Yes.
that the film festival hosts.
Yeah, and host a bunch of different type of artists as well. Because as we saw, I've been talking to filmmakers, I've been talking to scriptwriters, and you are an artist. So
That's correct.
this is the first year, if I'm not mistaken, that Yucca Valley actually has a display. It's the second year that Yucca Valley has a display of art. So you have a comic strip that we can see here. So tell us a little bit about that.
So the comic strip that is on display is pretty much based out of a second project that I'm still actually working on.
Okay.
So the comic strip that is displayed right over there on frame is based out of a future television series that I dreamed of one day creating.
Okay.
So the name of this television series project that I'm working on is called Detective Benworth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's mainly about a detective who is actually Scottish from Edinburgh, who likes to solve mysteries, investigate crimes, track down criminals, track down evidence, and also to investigate crime scenes of murder and robberies and all those type of things. And yes, the detective also has a girlfriend, and he has a sidekick as well.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what my second project is mainly about, is basically focusing on one character that has not only a whole series for himself and sidekicks and a girlfriend to support him, but he has also origins in the story. He has a background history. He has an archive, and there is so much stuff to be made in the series. There is so much for this character to be represented. There is so much to tell. There is so much for the audience to know what is the story about this character. Basically, where does he go? Who he is? What does he like? What doesn't he like? What is his personality? And what makes him unique? What
Okay.
makes him what he is?
So is the snippet that is displayed here, which we can see on the screen, is that, for example, like one snippet of a larger story? Is it like a proof of concept, would you say, for comic?
I like to say that it is a comic strip, but it's pretty much a mini episode, I like to call
Okay.
it. So for that comic strip, it's pretty much 1 out of 10 storyboards that I've made for that project by
Okay.
far.
Okay.
So that's what it is pretty much.
And how long does something like that take to do you write like the script per se first of what these characters are going to say before you start drawing, or do you start drawing and then the text comes along? Like, what is that like process for you?
So the process that I do, first of all, I don't use scripts.
Hmm.
I just dive in, like what you said. The second
You just
part,
start drawing.
you just start drawing, and then I put in the text.
But then what you're drawing, when you start drawing, do you already know what that character is going to say? Like, do you already know in your mind, okay, this is the first box, this is the second box,
Yes.
and you know the text that's going to go
Yes.
in each box?
Yes.
Okay. How long does once you start drawing, say something like this that has 8 scenes, how long does something like that take for you?
I would say by the latest a month.
Oh, wow. To draw that, wow.
I remember when I did a comic like that, I would spend up to at least 3 weeks, including the weekend, using the weekend for what I remember.
Yeah.
But I think in order to do something like that, I at least need a whole month.
Okay. Okay. How did you get into comic strip writing? That seems to be like such a specific niche.
Well, I got into comic strip writing because
And drawing.
I have a huge history. It takes me way back. Let's just say it takes me way back to when I was a little kid.
Okay.
Going back to the year of 2006.
Okay.
I was that boy living in an apartment, and then from there in 2007, I moved to a home with my mom, and I have a brother and a sister. And once we got into that home and we had television, I started watching a lot of cartoons.
Okay.
And I felt so fascinated, like so inspired by reruns of these cartoons that I've always wanted to see when I was so little. I was a huge fan of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Okay.
I really watched reruns of Yogi Bear and Boo Boo. Um, I've also watched Scooby Doo, the original Scooby Doo cartoons. I've watched Penelope Pitstop, the Wacky Races, and the Anthill Mob, all those characters. Also Huckleberry Hound.
Mm,
I've also seen the Pink Panther when I was little
okay.
too. And all those cartoons just sink into my mind. And I feel like I just want to pick up a pencil and I go on paper and I start drawing those characters. And then I've also gotten interested in Nickelodeon. I've
Mhm.
seen Jimmy Neutron, I've seen SpongeBob. I did not see Invader Zim, sadly. I wish I did when I was younger. I've seen The Very Odd Parents made by Butch Hartman. I've seen all those cartoons. I've also seen Cartoon Network shows like the Codename Kids Next Door. I've seen Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I've seen Flapjack. I've seen Chowder. I've seen a lot of those very old classic shows. Billy and Mandy, Foster's Home of Imaginary Friends, you name it, most of those shows. And all those shows begin to just sink into my mind.
Yeah.
And the more I keep making drawings, the more I just want to draw them. I just keep drawing them, and I noticed that I've started to change from drawing stick figures into actually making the characters themselves. And
Amazing.
I will share this. I've made at least 41 fan fiction books.
Wow.
But not real books. I mean, out of notebooks. I still have them locked away, but I stopped making them like, let's say about 6 years ago, when I was at least a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
And from there, I just started to change, and I just said, well, if I cannot sell work of real celebrities' characters, why not then just make my own and be like them?
Yes. I love that. That is, man, I mean, Ethan, you have done your research. Even if, like, when you were a
Oh,
kid, you didn't
yes.
even realize.
Yes.
You might not
And that's
even.
another thing that happened. I never knew that my drawings would take me to where I'm at today.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so
Yeah.
exciting. It's funny when you were a kid watching all these, cartoons, you didn't even know you were
Exactly.
researching what would be.
And that was the more frightening part, is that I didn't even know what I was doing. I just dive in there and just keep drawing and drawing and drawing. And then I had friends that they just walk up to me and they just say, Ethan, what are you doing? And I'm like, drawing, just drawing, minding my own
Yeah.
business.
Well, I love that you have drawn, and not only that you drew, but that you're also sharing it with the world. You submitted it to this festival, and now you're here and you're sharing your art with the world, and we are so happy that you have. So, Ethan, thank you so much for submitting to Yucca Valley, for being here, for sharing your art with us. It's been such a pleasure.
It is great to be here. Thank
Thank
you very much.
Thank you, Ethan. I will see you around for the rest of the festival. Thanks. All right, y'all. That was Mr. Ethan Ocampo, and he had a beautiful comic strip up at the festival. They are right over there. There's a bunch of art displayed here, and we've talked to a couple of them. I talked to Heather earlier on today, and it's just amazing getting to talk filmmakers, scriptwriters, artists. I mean, you name it, they're here. So I've got one more interview lined up, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring her over. So don't go And I'm back. We're going to jump right into the last interview of the evening before we go into the closing ceremony. So I am joined now by Jackie Hovorka. Hello, Jackie. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing so good. So, Jackie, you are I was going to say script writer, but you were part of the script writers panel. So I learned that you're not just, you're a writer.
Yeah.
Because did you start with novels?
I started with songwriting.
Oh,
So I've written
whoa.
songs since I was 5 years old, and I could play the piano. As soon as I could
Okay.
learn how to play the piano, I started writing songs. And then I started, I love books, of course, all the literary arts I love. I actually read Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged when I was in junior high. So I'm one of those nerds. So I started writing books not long after that. Screenwriting came because of my love, like I said, in the screenwriters panel, my love of Terminator, science fiction. And I read James Cameron's screenplay in his package or like they had this packet that they were giving out to fans. And I would devoured it in I think 7th grade or 8th grade. And
Oh,
after that, I thought,
wow.
maybe I could start doing this pretty soon too. Yeah.
Wait, in what grade was this?
I know it's a little too young to be watching that.
No, because I thought, no, I'm saying because I thought you had been writing novels for like years, and then you were like, oh, I also want to do.
I bounced anything in the creative because when I was younger, there was a lot that happened in my life. So my escape was world building and inventing characters in my head and playing the piano and music. It was my brother called me a hermit because I stayed in my room, and that's basically all I did was write and sing and play the piano, and that was kind of my escape. I
Yeah.
did okay in school, but it was really hard to pay attention because I would be in my notebook, writing things. Yeah. But I mean, it's just how my brain works.
Yeah, it's your medium of expression. That's how,
Yeah.
So, what would you say are some of the biggest differences between writing novels and writing for the screen?
That's a good question. So, when you write a novel, you have to flesh out everything because the readers are very, they rely on you to make sure that you can build this world that they can picture in their head because they can't see it visually, they can't hear it. They are relying on the descriptors, they're relying on, you describing scenes and the internal dialogue and things like that to really understand characters. And screenplays, you're trying to set up like screenshots that a viewer can, get involved in the story and give the actors a chance to show it on their face and show it without the internal dialogue. Show what's really, like their turmoil, what their struggles, what they're going through. So you have to be careful. There are a lot of differences.
Is there a balance when you're writing script writing? Do you already know, like, because I know with actors, they find a script and then they try to understand like what the character is feeling and all this. Do you sometimes feel like, let me try to write what the character is feeling, or let me leave that to the actor and the director to play with that? Like, how is that?
I try not to do a lot of parentheticals, but
Is parentheticals like?
Yeah, where you kind of describe like how they're going to be feeling, or how they're going to look when they act it out. But you're not supposed to do too many of those
For film,
because actors, they kind of don't like that. They want to be able to read the dialogue and the situation, the plot, what's going on in the story, and develop that character into what they think that character would look and act like. So you want to trust your actors and in your directing. But that is where it is. It's hard because coming from the novel side of it,
you have all the control. Yeah.
Exactly. You said it exactly right.
Yeah.
But it takes about 300 pages to have all the control versus the screenplay.
Does the novel, because of that, take longer to write?
Yeah. So novels before probably took me about 2 years. And so I went with a literary agent at one point and production or publishing company. And so they have deadlines. So that kind of squeezed me into where I had to start writing my novels in a shorter time period. But still at least a year, because there's a lot of research too. There's
Of
a lot of
course.
research in screenplay writing too, as well.
course.
You know, when you're building worlds, especially science fiction, fantasy, you're gonna want to make sure you get everything fits. You know, that you're not just throwing outlandish things out there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of research involved in that as well. But whenever you're writing a novel, like for instance, a historical home in one of my novels, I had to research my lead character. My main character was a contractor that renovated homes. So I don't know anything about renovating homes. I just stuck him in a house to renovate as part of the story.
Oh, wow.
And so I had to research that. And then I wrote stories that have time travel. So
Oh my
historical
gosh.
fiction.
Oh my
And I had to
God.
research the first century in Israel, actually. I know that's going on with them right now.
But then for the time traveling in and of it, do you have to study and understand like certain scientific,
Oh, yeah.
mathematical,
Oh,
like
yeah, because the readers will tear you up if you don't
my
have that
God.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
And that is a little bit different with film because I mean,
You can put he traveled in time. Yeah. And then it's like figure that out.
exactly. I mean, unless you have the dialogue where the scientist is explaining how it takes
Like Back to the
place.
Future, or he's like
Yeah.
this car at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I haven't written a screenplay that's science fiction yet, so
Yeah.
I'm not probably the best person to ask on the
Yeah.
screenplay side of that, but in a novel, there's a
Yes,
lot of
research. So you have Dear Cancer in competition. What's that one? That one's not sci-fi. You mentioned. So what's that one?
It's drama, but it's based on a true story.
Okay.
Rita Pamplin is a cancer survivor. She
Okay.
actually wrote a book where she took the journal entries from when she was fighting cancer. It was a way for her to cope. She wrote down all these journal entries where she was in a fight against cancer. Like cancer was the villain.
Oh,
it
wow.
was amazing. So
Matt is getting ready to meet with all the filmmakers in the meet and greet room. We've got a gentleman in the back of the room, brown jacket, red sweater. He's going to lead all the filmmakers over there. So,
on the leg at a
part
leg.
of the festival,
I just kind of
filmmaker,
built
actor,
it to
screen
where
actor.
it came to like
Please join us in the meet and greet
because I
room.
wanted to do
Kelly's also
good
headed back
things
there
for
right
her.
now.
I wanted her to be happy
Yeah.
with the story, and I wanted to do
Wow.
well for her. She's an amazing woman. I can't say enough about Rita, but she's my inspiration, and I hope one day that she will inspire the world with this screenplay turned film.
Yes.
And it will go places.
Oh my God. Well, congratulations, Jackie. I'm so happy you've not only created this, but shared this with us, with the world, with Yucca Valley Film Festival. It was such a pleasure getting to talk to you today, hearing from you and your process, which I thought was so funny. I loved your portion of the Q&A. It was just amazing.
I just had a good time talking about
Yeah, no, it was great. And it just showed how everybody's process was different. Everybody has their own thing. So whatever works for you, there isn't one right way to do things. So.
Exactly. And that's what I was kind of saying on the screenwriters panel. I don't want people to think, oh, if I don't do it a certain way, I shouldn't write.
Yeah.
No, it's creative art.
Yeah.
Write,
Yeah.
journal,
Yes.
like Rita did. Start somewhere
Yeah.
and see what it turns into. But I'm going to tell you, this festival and that screenwriters panel, this has been one of we've been to many festivals, and of course, great festivals too, but I loved that y'all gave us that opportunity to do that, because being able to talk about the art itself of writing and helping others to help inspire them
Yes.
to write as
It's
well.
huge. It's a
That
big,
was a pretty big deal. This is the first festival I've gone to that's done that. So I think that's amazing.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jackie. It's been such a pleasure.
You
Thank
too.
you
You
for
look
taking it.
beautiful.
Oh, so do you. shining on stage. Amazing. Well, I'm so excited to, spend the rest of the evening here. I know
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
we're gonna keep having fun.
Yeah, we're gonna keep
Thank you,
having fun.
Jackie.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. That wraps up my interviews. We just spoke with Jackie Hovorka. She is a writer, and she has Dear Cancer, which is a script in competition. So I am going to tune off because we are getting ready for the heart performance that's happening at 7 o'clock, which will kick off the closing ceremony. So you guys can actually tune in to that, and we will see you guys soon.